Hi guys, I'm glad to see you on my channel. My name is Diana. If you're new to my channel, here I talk about my journey of spiritual growth. What do I learn along this path? Some of my life hacks, some mistakes I've made, observations I just noticed, and the practices I do on my spiritual journey. I share all of this on my channel, and I'll be happy if my videos are helpful to you and you subscribe to my channel. So I've already made a video about money. If you haven't watched it, I recommend you do, because there I explained the basics, the foundation, everything is built on. I'll attach a link to it somewhere here. There will also be a few videos at the end of this video. Usually at the end of my videos, if you're watching from your phone, there are several videos to choose from that you can watch next. I'll also attach this video, and somewhere up here there will now be a pop-up suggestion on my channel called The Law of Money. That's the video. Well, in this video, I want to share a little life hack that I've been using a lot lately, which works really well and doesn't take any effort at all, so to speak, to do it. You just need to remember to do it, that's all. But before I share this, I want to start from a bit further back, so that those who are new to my channel and don't yet know how all this works can understand a little why it works. Everything in our world is built on vibrations. And thoughts are thoughts, feelings, the states we have inside us, they all consist of certain vibrations, right? All of our inner state emits, so to speak, certain vibrations. It exists at a certain frequency. We vibrate while being in these states and with these thoughts. And in the world around us, everything is also built on vibrations. And so, whatever vibrations we have inside us, whatever frequency, we attract circumstances, events, and people from the outside that resonate with these vibrations. What does this mean? It means they come into resonance, they match these vibrations. And for example, if we have some feeling of lack or dissatisfaction inside, then situations start happening around us that bring us more of that feeling. If, for instance, we are dissatisfied with a neighbor who makes noise, it doesn't necessarily mean that even more such neighbors will be drawn to us, so to speak, although that can also happen. And there can be other situations, not related to neighbors or noise, for example, but connected specifically to the feeling inside. So this feeling of dissatisfaction, situations will come that trigger that same feeling of dissatisfaction. Yes, they don't have to be exactly the same situations that you're already upset about, but just other ones that bring up the same emotions. So with this crucial understanding, this fundamental law, it's a law that works for each and every single person. There are no exceptions to it. If something happens to us, it means there are certain vibrations within us. It's not just about what we consciously think about, but often there are also more subconscious states and thoughts that we aren't aware of. We go through life and we really aren't aware of half the thoughts we have. We don't really understand what we're experiencing at any given moment, what state we're in, or what vibrations we're on. It all just happens automatically for us. And there are also some deeper states that we don't see. It may initially seem like everything is perfectly fine on the surface, but very deep down within our inner being, there are often some lingering negative states. For example, a feeling of dissatisfaction, maybe a persistent sense of insecurity, guilt, and so on and so forth. So with this understanding in mind, we are then empowered to use any number of techniques you like. You can come up with something yourself, and you can also use the technique that I will suggest to you. So if you want to increase the amount of money you have, let's say, for example, you don't have enough money right now, or you have some debts, or maybe you have a normal amount of money but would like to have more, what can you do? Every time you spend money, when they tell you the amount at the store, when you're standing at the checkout, or even when you're just discussing something with someone and they mention a price, you can say out loud, or if that's not possible, at least to yourself, every time I say, "Oh really? That's great." It doesn't matter what the amount is. There's plenty of money. I always say this to myself inside, exactly like that. There's plenty of money. Oh, I have plenty of money. You know, for example, I'm standing at the checkout. They tell me the amount. Inside, I get happy. I hand over the money and think, oh, there's plenty of money, like this is such a small amount for me. If, for example, I look at something and find out its price, I think, oh, that's nothing. It's so easy to buy. I have plenty of money, and so on. And it's like this every single time. And, you know, I wouldn't even say that I really get into some special state of having a ton of money. It's more like, you know, I just fully feel it. But this phrase, most of the time, of course, I say it to myself inside my head. It somehow, you know, brings a certain lightness. You don't even need to get into that state. Just in the moment, like when I'm paying at the register or when I find out a price, I say this to myself inside, and this phrase gives me a kind of lightness, so to speak. It's precisely this knowledge, this certainty that it really is so. It lasts literally just for a few seconds, just at the moment when I'm discussing the price or paying for my purchases. It doesn't last long. But even that brief second when I enter this state, every time I hand over money, I noticed, literally after just a few days of doing this, and I didn't even do it every time, sometimes I forgot, my income really did increase, even though there was no sign that it would. On the contrary, I started doing less overall, but my income kept increasing. So it really does work. And it's very easy. The only difficulty is that you forget to say it to yourself inside. But you don't even need to make any special effort or get into a certain state. Just this one phrase, this tons of money, somehow brings this lightness and a sense of relaxation, I guess. It's easy for you to part with money. You don't think that it's very expensive or, oh, how am I going to manage after this? Just at the moment of payment, it's like you enter a state where you really have tons of money. You can use a different word or expression as long as it carries that meaning. For me, this really worked. And honestly, it gives me that kind of feeling. But I'll say that it didn't immediately start giving me this cool, light feeling. The first few times I started doing this, I felt a bit strange, a bit confused, but I kept going anyway. But after doing this several times, specifically during moments of discussing prices or paying for purchases, I noticed that each time it really gave me more and more of that feeling. So if you haven't tried this yet, I recommend you try it every time you pay for purchases or discuss prices. Don't slip into negativity, like thinking it's so expensive or, oh, but I still need to buy this and that before the end of the month. This doesn't mean you should be wasteful. Many people misunderstand this. You still do what you need to do, of course. If your budget is limited at first, allocate it so that it's enough. But when you're paying for something you need to buy at the store anyway, just hand over the money without thinking. Oh, like it's tearing it from your heart. Instead, think to yourself, I have plenty of money, and pay. And indeed, you end up having more and more money. This has been tested many times. I only recently started using this particular technique, but again, it supports what I say in all my videos. What we believe in is what works. If we say, I have plenty of money, that's exactly what happens. For example, if you're discussing prices with someone, try not to use labels like expensive. It's better to simply say, it costs this much, without any value judgments. Because when you say expensive, you're kind of putting yourself down. You're diminishing your inner state, your sense of abundance. You're basically thinking, this is a lot for me, I don't have much, and for me this is a lot. So just say, it costs this much, and that's it. Don't judge it. This kind of judgment, and especially the indignation about it, like, oh, everything is so expensive, prices are rising, doesn't help you at all. It only makes things worse. It takes even more money away from you. So try to maintain a more neutral state. Don't fall into negativity and a sense of lack. Even if that's how things are right now, try to change that state and understand that the more your mindset shifts toward abundance, the more money you'll have. Yes, you need to take that first step to change things inside yourself first, and you'll start to notice that you have more and more money. So let's sum up, guys. Whatever we believe in, that's what works. We can introduce any kind of practices for ourselves, and they will work for us. This practice I told you about came very easily to me, and it doesn't require any effort. The only thing is just not to forget about it, yes. But even if you do forget, it's not a big deal. The most important thing is not to worry and not to attach too much importance to it. It should be more like a game. Yeah, like, let's try it. I'm curious to see what will happen. You should approach this more with curiosity, just to try out this technique rather than feeling obligated. That way it will come more easily, and that's when it will bring results. If we take this too seriously, like I have to do it this way and that way, with all this seriousness, it won't bring results. More lightness, more playfulness, more curiosity, more inspiration. Yes, it's all about being lighthearted. If you forget, no big deal. Next time you'll remember. Oh, I remembered. All right, let's try it now. There you go. That's it. Every time you pay for your purchases or discuss something with others about money, about prices, say to yourself, or even out loud if you can, oh, I have tons of money. With each time, this phrase will bring you closer and closer, more clearly and more strongly, to a state of abundance. You'll actually start to feel, right in the moment you say this phrase, that what you're saying is true, that you have tons of money. This will bring you a sense of lightness, and your previous vibrations of lack, yes, when you're discussing money or making payments, will gradually dissolve. Yes, you'll have new vibrations, what you're introducing, because by saying this phrase, you step into these new vibrations, even if just for a brief moment. The more often you do this, the more, let's say, this vibrational background will settle within you. It will become more familiar and habitual. And with each passing day, it will become stronger and stronger within you. And in this way, it will improve your financial situation. That's all for now, guys. Thank you for liking the videos, for subscribing to the channel, for leaving comments, sharing your stories, for sharing these videos, for sending donations, and for becoming sponsors of my channel. I appreciate you for watching this video all the way to the end. We'll see each other again in a new way. Bye-bye.